Hey folks, Jeff Gonzalez with Trident Concepts. I'm here at the range at Austin. I'm going to be doing a pistol reveal brief review. Last week I was out at the SIG Academy for their their SIG Next event, and first of all, it was an outstanding event. It was unique and a new direction that we're seeing within the industry. The difference is that they took basically all of their products, and rather than release them piecemeal over the year, and rather than release them at a giant show where they don't have the opportunity to engage as effectively with the consumer market or the media, they put it together in a single event, and that was awesome. We had, I don't even remember the numbers, but I think they said somewhere in the neighborhood of like 50 dealers, 30 folks from the media, or maybe that was Switch, I can't remember now, but there was a lot of people there, and it was an awesome time. It was about 3 days. To go through everything, to include range day, tour of the factories to see where the magic happens, as well as, you know, direct access to the 1,000-pound brains that came up with all these new products. There's about 12 new products: pistols, rifles, and optics, several in each of those categories, and you know, I'll get into all of that a little bit later. Right now I want to talk about something that was near and dear to my heart, which is, it's taken me a couple years, I think it's taken the industry a couple of years to truly appreciate what the thin frame, 1-inch wide pistol frames are offering us. The big complaint that we get is that, well, with the smaller size, less mass, harder to control. That is correct. There's physics involved there. You can't really overcome that. But here's something that's super cool, and that is with the thinner frame, I'm able to actually apply more force through an improved gripping capacity because my hands are going to be stronger the closer they get to a closed fist. So thick frames, we've been that's all we've ever had as far as a, you know, compact full-size pistol. Now I can't help but wonder, well, why haven't we seen these types of frames in a duty full-size pistol? Well, I don't need to ask that question anymore, because that was the purpose behind the P365 Fuse. So the P365 Fuse fuses the full-size capabilities with the micro compact features, and you get a really awesome pistol. So let's get into it here. All right, another cool side note is walking the factory, I got a chance to check out like all parts, all positions within the production, one of which is the packaging for shipping and getting the guns ready in these boxes. So it's actually really cool to watch that, especially now that I'm pulling the gun out. So, all right, so we'll start with the slide. For now, just disregard that mini red dot slide. I'll get into it in a little bit. The first thing that you should pick up on is these really aggressive slide serrations. Well, I guess the first thing you should pick up on is the fact that it's a longer slide. It's about 7 inches. The barrel is a little bit over 4.5 inches. So what we're getting now is longer sight radius, and with a longer barrel, we're able to get higher muzzle velocities, which should translate into better terminal performance. So that's great news. But we see these slide serrations, and I bring these up because the week before the next event, I was out at the SIG Academy teaching some advanced classes, and it was hot. And I mean, you were just drenched in sweat all day long. And I can't help but wonder how well these newer slide serrations would have worked. Now, this is not the first time we've seen aggressive slide serrations, but it's the first time we're seeing them on a P365, so that's kind of cool. The next thing you'll notice is the backup iron sights. Traditionally, they've gone with their excellent X-ray sight system, which I love, but they went with fiber optic sights for the front and a plain black rear. I will tell you this, that I've been shooting red dots for so long recently, probably like the last 4 or 5 years, virtually exclusively, that when this dot is kind of dim, when it's not set at a higher intensity, my brain, because it's ADHD, will look for the brightest object, and this fiber optic sight is screaming at me. So I have to be very mindful of making sure that the dot is set at a not a higher than normal intensity, but when I'm like moving in and out of, you know, an indoor outdoor setting, I just have to make sure that when I move from an indoor setting where I typically will lower the intensity and I move to an outdoor setting, that I raise the intensity. Something else that's not visible per se are these new screw slots that you see inside the underside of the slide. So what that's for, and I'll have to show you close up, what that's for is the next generation of optics, which are going to be bottom up mounted. All optics that you see today, unless they're custom, are top down, which is, there's obviously pros and cons to everything. But the bottom up has a unique engineering feature that I'm going to save for when these optics, these new next generation optics come out, which is going to be in about 6 months. Don't fret, because you can still use any optic with the slide, because it's going to be both top down and bottom up compatible. So you have the best of both worlds. As we move down to the frame, you still have your Picatinny rail. You move back, you should notice that nickel plated trigger in the fire control system. So the benefit behind any type of plating has to do with reducing friction. So are we going to see like smoother trigger pull over the long haul? Well, I don't know. But right now, when I've dry fired, it feels nice. The couple hundred rounds that I've fired, it feels nice. I'm curious, after a couple thousand rounds, what we can expect. Because I think that's when you're really going to see the true benefit to that type of nickel plating inside the fire control. That's where you're going to see the break-in period kind of, you get past that break-in period so you can truly appreciate what that nickel plating is going to do. The other thing that you notice is that it's got this new laser etched grip module. It's the same laser etching that you see on the Spectre Comp and other similar frames. I would have loved to have played with this while we were out there last week or the week prior, just because of how much sweating I was doing. It was pretty bad. Something else, I removed it already, but it's a magazine. It's a flared magazine well. Again, you can put it on or off. Oh, one more thing about the grip module. You have the same options as far as the different sizes, so you can go small, medium, or large. But the only kind of bad thing is that the only one that has the laser etching is the medium. The small and the large are just your standard. Now, of course, you could probably send them in or get a replacement if you really, really wanted the aesthetics, but just something to note. So, I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Well, oh, hello, Target. There's one more thing that I should mention. Let's get you back out there. The P365 xMacro really made a big jump in magazine capacity. 17, right? So we started with the P365, which only had 10. Then we moved to the XL, which had 12. The xMacro had 17. Now, this new Fuse comes standard with the 17, but you also get two 21 round magazines. So that's really nice, 21 rounds in this slimline potential, new duty / full-size gun. I'm excited to see, how this is going to work. Obviously you have a little bit of a grip texture here to add a little. I honestly don't need that because the frame height is so tall that I get a good purchase without it. But you'll have that there. So it's interesting to see the evolution of the magazines, and that was another really cool part of the tour, was seeing the magazine production. They're putting out, they estimated about 5 million per year, which is about 30,000 a day. And truthfully, they're expecting to ramp up to about 6 million. That's super cool. But just watching the production of the magazines, how they're now in-house, I thought was cool. All right, so enough yapping. I want to go ahead and start some true evaluation, some true review. Again, I'm only going to get about a couple hundred rounds in today. I've selected some opportunistic drills that don't require a holster because we're still waiting for some holster products. But the nice thing is that at about my target is going to be about 1,500 to 2,000 rounds. That's what I really want. I want to circle back and do a after actions report on, hey, now I'm at 15,000, 2,000 rounds. Let's talk a little bit about what I've observed in that time period. In particular, some of those things that I talked about, the grip, this nickel plating. Let's just see where we're at there. I'm Jeff Gonzalez. Until then, stay safe or be dangerous. Adios.